Alright, so we're going to use this recording today to be a substitute for the lecture that we missed on Thursday. I've copied part of EduCat's files in here to show you the commands we're going to be working on today. Move, copy, mirror, rotate, and polygon. The practice problem that I assigned to start off with was the 5-33, the closed-end wrench. I know some of you have started it already, but the job will be significantly easier if you use the commands we're talking about today. So even if you started it, my recommendation is that you go back and start it again and then be purposeful in practicing with these commands. I'm going to go ahead and start the way we normally would, looking at critical points. Got 1, 2, 3 critical points. I'm going to do it inside this title block, but we don't have to. You can do it in general drawing space. I'm going to draw a random length line. I really don't care how long it is. If you want to do the length of the line that's specified here, it'd be 7 3/4. I'm going to continue to practice the commands we've been working with. So offset, my offset is going to be to offset this vertical line from this end. I'm going to say offset, and then for this particular exercise, 9/16 is you have to convert that to a decimal. And so I know that's difficult, but it's 5.5625. I'm going to set that distance. I'm going to offset it to this side. That's these two critical points. I'm going to go back into offset again, and I'm going to set my distance up for 7.75. And then I'm going to click that line and put it on this side. I'm going to use trim, so TR, or you can come up here and pick it. Remember, we're reading down here. This is our cutting edge. Hit enter, and then this is the item to trim. Already this isn't where I want it, and so I'm going to go ahead and use one of the new commands, which is move. So the move command is up here. It's the 4 arrows. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. You'll see it says select objects, and this is the primary place where we use these selection windows. Remember these ones? The blue one where we have to capture everything inside the box, or the green one where it's anything that it touches. We'll be using that selection window for all of these commands. So I'm going to go ahead and use the blue box and capture this whole thing. You'll see AutoCAD keeps track of how many items we found. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And then the base point. Base point is something we're going to use today for all of these commands as well. Essentially, it's a handle. Where do you want to grab a hold of this at? You could use one of the components here, like grab an actual grip or an object snap. Or you can grab an object away from the object, like I just did. I just clicked out here in the drawing space, and you'll see essentially it's a handle that doesn't touch the object, and it allows me to just move it without constraint. I can just set it here. We'll be seeing move again later. For right now, I'm just going to go ahead and leave that there and go ahead and start on the drawing the way we have it here. A circle right there at the intersection. It has a 3/8 radius, so I'm going to type in 0.375 at the radius prompt and leave that there. Now, if we look at that, that's the inside circle there. We do need another one of those. We need it over here at 5 9/16. So rather than have to try and draw another one at this intersection point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the copy command. Again, we're back to that select objects. I'm going to use that window to capture that circle. I could also use this window. When I hit enter, because that's the only object that I want to copy, you'll notice down here it says specify the base point. Now, if I tried to pick an outside base point, one that's not connected to the item, when I get it over here, it's really hard to make sure, especially if I turn off my polar settings, to get that centered. Even if I was working at it real hard, I would be off when I set it down. Okay, I'll go ahead and erase that. Instead, what we want to do is copy this item, hit enter, and when we pick our base point, picture where you're going to set it. If I want the center of the item at that intersection point, I need to pick the center of the item so I can set it using the center of the item. So I want to erase that. I'll go back through it one more time. I'm going to go to copy, choose my object. I'm going to hit enter. It asks for the base point, I'm going to go ahead and pick the center, and I'm going to set it at that intersection. So now we know we're accurate with that. So that's how copy works. It's similar to move, except it's leaving a copy behind. I'm going to go ahead and do a circle down here at the very end. I'm going to use D for diameter option, and then it's 2.625 is the size of that. That's the outside circle you see here. I'm going to go ahead and do another circle inside of it. I'm going to give this one a diameter D of 1.5. The reason we're doing that is so we can use the Polygon command. That's on our list of things to try today. So we'll look at this Polygon command, and they want 1.5 between the flats. And so I think the Polygon command is nested in here. If we tap draw, I actually don't see it. I'm going to go ahead and type it down here inside the command list, type Polygon. You'll see it pop up, and then we'll specify the number of sides. This one has 6 sides, it's hexagon, so we'll type in 6 and hit enter. Where is the center of the polygon? That's what it's asking for down here in the command window, so we're going to pick there. And then it wants to know if you want them inscribed or circumscribed. And inscribed means the whole shape would appear inside that circle. Circumscribed means the shape appears outside the circle, and for this particular instance we're going to hit C for circumscribed, and now you can kind of see we could pick that quadrant point there, we could pick that quadrant point there. It totally depends what we want. We're going to have to rotate this item around 15 degrees, so what I want to do is I want to make sure I have a point facing up, so I'm going to pick this 3 o'clock quadrant point right here, and now we have a polygon in there. Rotate is one of the commands that we have, so now that we have that polygon in there, we're going to go ahead and hit rotate, and we're going to pick that polygon and hit enter. The base point is considered the pivot point for this, so we're going to pivot it right here at this center, and then you can see as I move the mouse it will actually follow the rotation. If I turned my polar on, I'm locking every 15. So as I move that around, there's the first 15, there's 30. Nope, I went by 30. There's 30, there's 45. Those are reliable in this instance. Or if we don't want to use the mouse, we can go ahead and type in the rotation and just say 15 and hit enter. And so that should compare to what we have over here. Actually, you'll notice I rotated that 15 degrees in the wrong direction. I went clockwise 15 degrees, and this should be clicked back negative. So I'm going to hit U for undo. Now you'll see the polygon is back where it belongs. I'm going to go back to rotate, pick the polygon, hit enter, pick that base point, and this time I'm going to type in negative 15. And that looks better. That looks more like what we have over here. And we don't need that inside circle. We can go ahead and erase that. And let's go ahead and put the outside circles on. This one has a radius of 1.06. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not 1 1/16. It's 11/16. So this circle has a radius of 0.6875. That's better. Go ahead and draw your lines from the quadrant points, and you can just run them long. Oops. Make sure you're using that polar setting so you're staying horizontal. I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. You know, we really don't have a great instance for mirroring here. Let's go ahead and we'll use this line. It's not a great instance for it, but we'll make it do. We'll do another one later. I'll go ahead and erase that line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to mirror. Mirror works in a couple ways. We need to select the object we want to mirror, which is this one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to choose the mirror line. And the mirror line is always, pay attention to this portion, halfway between what you have and what you want. So if we have a line down here and we want a line at the top, we need a line halfway between them. That's this one. So I'm going to choose this option for the item to select. I'm going to hit enter. And my mirror line is this line. So I'm going to choose this point on the mirror line, and you'll see the mirror is already started. And then as I go to a horizontal position, that mirror appears where I want it. We always get this question, do you want your source object to be erased? No, we don't. We want that to be original there, and the copied item there. So mirror works across mirror lines. I'll give you another quick example. We've got this vertical line here. If we had two holes that were 2 inches apart, we could draw a line over here 1 inch. I could put a circle at the end of that. And I could say mirror this circle to the other side. That would make this the mirror line. So from here to here. And then we have those two objects. So go ahead and try that on your own. I'm going to go ahead and delete those. They aren't part of the drawing. They're going to stay. So we'll keep those in here. Go ahead and draw a line from here to here. And a line from here to here. And then you can clean that drawing up using the trim command. As I mentioned last week, we can pretty much use this whole object as trimming edges. And we'll go ahead and get rid of these entities here. The drawing looks a little better. Oh, I messed up. That circle's supposed to go all the way through. Go ahead and use the fillet command to put these two circles in. So fillet is here. Go ahead and type in R to set the radius, 0.75, and then we're going to choose this entity and this entity. I'll run that again. We're back in the fillet command. R, enter, is 0.75. First object is this one. Second object is this one. And you'll see that fillet come in. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of our setup items now. And we're going to use copy to create the wrench heads above the top here. So when we do that, go to copy command, grab that circle, and we're going to use the center of it as our base point and move it up to the top. You'll notice right here that these are half size. So these circles we're gonna use a new command called scale. It's right here. So I'll choose scale. I'll pick the object and hit enter because that's the only object I want to scale. And then our base point is going to be the center. As a scale factor, they ask for half, so type in 0.5. And now you can see that got to be half size. Go ahead and hit U for undo. And what we'll do is we'll actually complete this first one at the size it is. You'll notice they want a 2-inch diameter circle where that triangle is. I'm going to put circle on the inside, diameter of 2, and then I've got that triangle put in there, so we're going to go ahead and use Polygon again. Just go ahead and type it in at the bottom. And number of sides is 3. And then we'll choose that center. We'll say I for inscribed. You can see all the polygon is inside that circle. And we'll pick that right there. And then of course we'll have to rotate it. So I'm going to go to rotate, which you could type, or you can go up top and pick the icon. It doesn't really give me the angle of rotation. I'm going to make the assumption it's the same 15. So rotate the triangle and hit enter. The base point, our rotation point, is going to be the middle, and there we are, we're rotating. So let's go negative 15 again. And, oh, it went the wrong way. So undo, rotate, pick that triangle, and then your base point is the middle, and we'll type in 15. That looks better. So now it would be more appropriate to scale this. We can scale the whole thing, pick the center, and say 0.5. You can kind of see that that's more what we have represented here. So at this point we've covered move and copy and mirror and rotate and polygon. I'm going to do one more quick example, and you can kind of just follow along with these. Kind of one of the ones I'd like to look at. How it chases it is, I'm going to go back to a practice problem that we were working on back here. Let's do something like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do a screen capture. Of 464. I'm going to go back into AutoCAD, and I'm going to paste that in here. And then I'm going to go ahead and size it so it's much easier to handle. So in order to function with this one, what I'm going to do is I'll try to set up a mirror that's a little cleaner for you. I'm going to go ahead and just draw a long line. I know I have to come over 0.88, so I'm going to say offset 0.88. I'm going to say this line goes on this side. And I'm going to draw a line through the middle of here. That's going to be this line. So I'm just going to start making these crosshairs. I know I need this offset 2.12, and I'm going to go up on that spot. So I essentially started with this big crosshair right here, and I'm going to put the circle with a D diameter of 2.5 in there. So now you can kind of see this point here is this point here, and we've gone up 2.12 and we've gone over 0.88. So right here is right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a circle in there, C, at the intersection with a diameter of 0.62. Don't forget to type in that D. And now, if it's helpful for you, go ahead and erase that offset line, just so you don't have to deal with it anymore. We don't want to confuse it with our later offset, which is going to be from here over to there. And now we'll kind of see we have a little bit of a problem. We don't have that distance. We don't have a distance from the center. We actually have it from the 1.25. So we're going to have to hit undo. I'm going to go back to offset. I'm going to type in 1.25, and I want to take this line and go on the outside. And now I've created that point. Now rather than go back to a circle command, I'm going to copy this circle, hit enter, and my base point will be the center of it. I'm going to go ahead and set it at that intersection. You got to be careful with intersection. Make sure you're getting right at that point you want to be. Notice it'll pick any intersection where that projection line hits. You want to go ahead and make sure you're getting right in that spot. Use your mouse button to roll in and out to be accurate. At this point, since we have both of these holes and we know we're going to have a mirror of them over here, I'd like to do the mirror command again. So I'm going to say mirror, pick the objects to mirror, be these two, hit enter, and then we need our mirror line, which is the one that runs right down the middle, exactly halfway between what we have and what we want. So go ahead and pick the one end of that line, pull down and pick the second end of the line. Do you want to delete your source objects? No. And you're out of the mirror command. So that should make your life quite a bit easier as far as doing that. So for doing anything else, we want to find that bottom command. We could again mirror this line. This would be our mirror line at this point. And we could say, I'm going to copy this circle from the center point to that intersection. And so now we've kind of finished. So you've mirrored again, you've copied again. Let's run move again. We'll go ahead and take this whole object and we can make it go from this endpoint all the way to the end of the title block if you want. You could say I want to move, let's do not a great example on here to move anything with. Let's move this line up 1/2 inch. So I'm going to make sure I'm moving straight up in the direction, say 0.5. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a line. I'll offset it 1 and go down. So now we've kind of given a location for there and a location for there. We would have to offset half of that 2.5. So we could say offset half of 5.5 is 2.75. So we can move this to this side. And then if we were to trim this line is this one. So as far as practice goes, we've run all of these at least once during this lecture, and I know it isn't as nice as having a full-blown lecture. What we want to do is have you go ahead and practice the wrench, try these commands. There is another practice assignment called 6-1-ABC, and they aren't our typical drawings. They're more of kind of artwork looking things, but they are great practice. So I'll turn those on for you can kind of see them on my screen here, but we'll go ahead and run those. And then do what you can and come to lab and we'll answer questions and we'll make sure you can use those commands. Best of luck and we'll see you on Tuesday.